Okay, I'd like to call to order our meeting, our town board meeting, and of Thursday, November 19th, 2015. And I'd like to ask our clerk, Maureen P. Haas, to call the roll, please.
Councilwoman Charles. Here. Councilman Withers. Councilman Ullman. Councilman Friedman. Here. Deputy Supervisor Olivier.
That's all right. He's here twice.
I meant to say
He's here in both capacities.
I meant to say Deputy Commissioner of Police Affairs, Hunter.
Yes,
And Supervisor St. Lawrence.
here. Okay, I'd like to ask our Deputy Supervisor Withers to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a couple people from the public here, so why don't we just do public participation right away? So if people want to go about and do other things. Anybody in the public would like to speak, raise your hand. Mr. Romanowski, come right up.
It's Robert Romanowski, 183 Maple Avenue, Muncie. I'd like to make a suggestion to add on to these agendas, maybe once a month or so. There's all different headings here. I'd like you to add one that says questions, because maybe there might be some time when this board would answer questions. You take the taxpayers' money for your salaries and benefits. During the budget hearing, you're saying this is for the public, we don't answer questions. No, you use taxpayer money for things like you spend $38 million in taxpayer money on the stadium. You just spent money to buy a skating rink. Ramapo's fiscal stress in 2014 is higher than it was in 2012. And I would just like to know, when does this board answer questions? So I think that should be added on to the agenda where we could answer you questions. You know, you represent the public, and you should be able to, at some point, answer to the public. The second thing I would like to know is, when the town adopts the 2016 budget, are you going to place it on the town website? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Romanowski. Anyone else in the public would like to speak? Motion to close public participation. Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Yes, we will have it on the website, Robert, when the budget's passed. So it will be available online. Okay, the next item on the agenda is police matters. So we'll start off with police. Captain Coakley?
Okay. The former chief wanted me to notify you of some of the meetings that he last attended.
I think that's all right. We got it.
Okay. You did ask me to bring it up. No problem. Okay, we'll skip past that. Also, you have the listing of what our productivity was for the month of October 2015 as compared to 2014. The only major difference in the two, they're very similar. The productivity from one month to the next is the larcenies that occurred back there. It was 74 for October 2015 and 48 in 2014. The difference,
maybe since this is aired for the public and they don't have a privy to the sheet itself, and if anybody in here in the room wants a copy of this, we'll give them a copy. But when it says a blotter, 4,372.
yes.
That was for this year, October of 15, versus 4,148. Those are incoming calls, correct?
Those are the number of activities our officers responded to. Either
So
they created them, or we got a call in from the
because then that's right in kind of in line with, typically we have about 60,000 inquiries over the course of a year. So it's up a little bit. I just wanted to make that note. But okay. I just want people to understand that we want people to call our police department, and if they see something, we want them to say something, and people do respond, and it makes it safer when people in the public contact our police. And I think the fact that we're such a community policing force and dedicated and professional, I think people are even more willing to contact us. So it's, that number going up is a good number. It could be they're calling about a problem, and we can see that as we go down the list, but I just wanted to highlight that number and let you go from there. Okay?
Well, from now on, Mr. St. Lawrence, what I'll do is I'll put a set of maybe 10, 15 copies up at the desk here when we come in from now
Oh,
on.
okay, good,
And if
good.
anybody
So we'll
wants
make
to
it available to the public.
Available to public if you like.
Okay.
Okay. That is it for
Just so we were saying then on the larcenies,
the
were the...
larcenies. There was 74 for the month of October 2015 and only 48 for October 2014.
So for over a year, the larcenies have gone up.
Well, the
And
reason
for that month,
That month particularly was that we had two crews of people breaking into cars, and that carried over into the month of October. Both groups have been apprehended, one with youths who were referred to family court, and the other were referred to criminal court. But that's why we had such a spike at that time frame, because of these two groups, and they have been.
They were breaking into cars parked overnight. I know we sent out messages, the department sent out messages to tell people to lock their cars and even in their driveways. But, so you caught two different groups of youth that were apprehended on that. So
That is correct.
okay.
Okay. I also have a request here for the purchase of firearms from Officer John Kane and Officer John Roberts. I don't remember what the procedure is, but the board has to set approval. I guess I have to give it to Mike.
Yeah, and
Well-
the board votes to approve the purchase by the retiring officer.
Okay.
So the retiring officer wants to purchase his particular weapon.
Correct.
And we have done this in the past,
Yes.
and meets all the guidelines, and he has obviously the proper permits and all the things of that nature.
That is correct.
So we could make a motion, Deputy Supervisor wants to make a motion to allow him to do this, subject to the attorney reviewing all the paperwork.
Yeah, which officers was this?
Officer John Kane and Officer John Roberts.
Okay, moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
Okay. If you'd like to go, well, the only matters we have left are things that are concerned in executive session. Personnel matter or? Personnel matters. Personal matters and lawsuits.
So you're requesting to go into an executive
Yes, ma'am.
session on those personnel matters?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr.
Move.
Supervisor, if I may, maybe it's just things we could
No,
rip through.
no, why don't we go do this so we don't have the brass waiting around? All right, move to go into executive session by Deputy Supervisor Withers, second by Councilwoman Charles. This is to go into executive session for police personnel matters and litigation. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. We're in He is on, and I'll just double check that we can film it, all right? It's 1:30 to 3. Yitzi, we have a traffic safety thing at the state at 1:30 to 3 right here in the show. Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to ask Jack to film it, all right? So then you can watch it. It's the corridor. It's 45, not so much a race, it's 15 minutes. What? Oh, Okay. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a public hearing. The local law allowing the town of Ramapo to override the levy limit established in General Municipal Law 3-C in the town of Ramapo. And, Council, do we have all the public notices on this?
Yes, we've received an affidavit of publication, an affidavit of posting. Those affidavits will be deemed part of the record for the public hearing, and with the board's permission, I'll read the notice into the record. Notice is hereby given by the Town Board of the Town of Ramapo that pursuant to the provisions of the Town Law of the State of New York, a public hearing will be held at 10 o'clock a.m. at Ramapo Town Hall, 237 Route 59, Suffolk, New York, 10901, on the 19th day of November 2015, to consider the adoption of a local law entitled "A Local Law Allowing the Town of Ramapo to Override the Tax Levy Limit Established by General Municipal Law 3C." Notice is further given that all interested persons will be given an opportunity to be heard. We may now open the public hearing.
Okay. The public hearing is open. Anybody like to speak? Raise your hand. Come right up.
Robert Romanowski, 183 Maple Avenue, Muncie, New York. I received these copies of the budget, but there's no revenues anywhere in this budget. I don't know how much are you expecting from revenues, such as revenue from the 1% fee that you get when you collect school taxes, building permit fees, fines received from the Justice Court, and property taxes, and there's really no tax roll information here. There's not really much in this budget that you've given me. It's like a clamshell with nothing in it. What is this board so afraid of that you're trying to hide from the public? You may not answer my questions here, but you may silence me at meetings and not take my phone calls, but I think eventually other people are going to be coming to Town Hall, and their questions you're going to have to answer. Before you override the tax cap, there's some things that need to be explained with this budget. Now, Ramapo's fiscal stress is very high. It's up to 77. It's higher than it was in 2012. What moves have been taken in the 2016 budget to reduce the fiscal stress of the town of Ramapo? If this is such a good budget, why are you not talking about it or explaining it? This is something that you probably could discuss on your Saturday radio show, but all I've heard was silence about the budget. And what things have been cut from the budget? Have you cut from the budget before having to go over the tax cap? As I suggested previously, have you cut the $72,000 you're paying to state advisors? I don't see any work product from them. Are you still paying liaisons? Maybe that could be cut to save a few dollars, so you have to go with the tax cap. Have you explored my suggestion of combining the receiver of taxes into the town clerk's office to save money? So before this town board goes ahead and overrides the tax cap, what's needed to the public is a good explanation of what has been cut from the budget and what's being done to improve the fiscal condition of the town of Ramapo. As you have heard on the radio, Ed Day has been on speaking of how he's working to improve the fiscal stress of the county, and the county is just 2 points from being taken off the most fiscally stressed list. So finally, I just want to tell this board again, before you override the tax cap, you need to explain the budget to the public. We've heard nothing about it. What are you so afraid of that you don't want the public to know? Eventually, they're going to find out, and others will find out. Thank you.
Anybody else who want to speak at the public hearing on the local law? Motion to close the public hearing? Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. Now on the proposed local law. Moved by Charles, seconded by Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously.
I just want to
Yeah.
mention,
I wanted to say something too, but you can go ahead.
and you're probably going to elaborate on this, you know, the county might boast that they did this or did that. Let's not forget, all they did is kick the ball to someone else. You know, a large part of our tax increases to pay for the chargebacks.
Absolutely.
The county pushed back on us.
And that's ironic that their speaker spoke about the county and the county executive. The county executive is wishing to charge back again almost $800,000 to the town. We had previously had to absorb this a few years ago, the chargebacks for the Board of Elections and for the college chargebacks. We had to absorb those in the middle of a budget cycle. We didn't have that opportunity to prepare a budget that was put down on the county out of the blue, right in the middle of our budget cycle. So we had to ameliorate that by making other cuts and expenditures, which is what we did, by reducing the number of personnel when people retire through attrition. We've been only bringing back, filling that position if it was in a desperate need, so we've been reducing our CSEA workforce, so in the middle of that budget cycle, we had to deal with that $1.2 million. So it is only prudent now, seeing that the county executive's now come out with his budget and is saying now that he doesn't even believe that the legislature needs to vote on it. He's going to do this just by the executive saying he can do this. He is going to charge us this amount. We have to have it in our budget. It would be wrong for us not to have it in the budget. And so that is a major driver of putting us over the tax cap, along with other things that residents have come to us, that they wanted to have a traffic study done on the town. It's something that we have $200,000 in here now that we put in from our preliminary budget for a traffic study, and another $50,000 for some special supplies on that to be able to work on that. We also have been notified now. We've been pressing very hard to get the state of New York to pay taxes for fire protection in the Palisades Interstate Park area. 50% of the town of Ramapo is parkland. Big portion is the Palisades Interstate Park. Over the years, we have fought with the state on reimbursement on property taxes. They didn't want to pay that. We were able to win that battle, and we were able to have them pay property taxes at a reduced rate than what homeowners, because it's vacant property. But we said that they should be paying for fire protection. Our residents pay for the fire protection that are within a particular fire protection area. We were successful. So now the state of New York is going to be paying an additional close to $400,000 for fire protection this year. The state comptroller says, well, that has to be part of your tax cap. So putting that in, that's another $400,000 that drives this. So that's where we are. As far as the budget being out there, it will be online, and now as soon as we adopt it, it will be online. We didn't put it online before we adopted it because there could be final changes that could be made by people. So it will be online as soon as it can be put online by our staff. So it will be available. Okay. The next matter, we dealt with the police on the agenda. The next is the adoption of the minutes for a special meeting of November 4th. Moved by Councilwoman Charles, second by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. The next item on the agenda is the regular meeting of November 9th, 2015. Moved by Councilman Friedman, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. The next item on the agenda is the town attorney.
Thank you. The first resolution is one which we adopt each year. This enters into a contract with the NIAC Employee Assistance Program, which provides services to our police.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
The next series of resolutions all set public hearing dates on the various fire protection districts. We need to do these separately. The first is for the Johnsontown Road Fire Protection District. This public hearing will be scheduled on December 9th at 8:01.
Moved by Withers, seconded by Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
The public hearing for the Park Crest Fire Protection District will be scheduled for December 9th at 8:02.
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
The public hearing for Ramapo Fire Protection District Number 1 will be December 9th at 8:03.
Moved by Councilman Ullman, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
The Ramapo Fire Protection District Number 2 will be the subject of a public hearing on December 9th at 8:04 p.m.
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
The Ramapo Fire Protection District Number 3 is scheduled for a public hearing at 8:05 p.m. on December 9th.
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
The Ramapo Fire Protection Number 4 will be scheduled for public hearing at 8:06 p.m. on December 9th.
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Councilman Ullman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
And finally, 8:07 p.m. on December 9th is the time for the public hearing on the Ramapo Fire Protection District Number 5.
Moved by Charles, seconded by Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
The next resolution settles a claim filed by Michael E. Mann. This is for the sum of $1,818.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is finance adoption of the 2016 town budget. Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Next is purchasing.
Item 5A1 on the agenda is the acceptance of bid for repair and replacement of existing sidewalks and curbs. I'm asking to accept the bid of Upstate Concrete and Masonry Contracting as listed in the resolution.
Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
Item 5A2 on the agenda is the acceptance of the bid for the 2016 printing of the summer activities and facilities brochure, and we're asking you to accept the bid of Kenyon Press as listed in the resolution.
Moved by Deputy Supervisor Withers, seconded by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
Item 5B on the agenda is the request for rescission of a bid for the furnishing and cleaning of work uniforms. We will be going out to rebid this. We're going to reject the bid of American Wear uniforms as it did not conform to the language we requested the bid to come in.
Moved by Charles, seconded by Deputy Supervisor Withers. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously.
Another item, in reference to everything ice, I'm asking you to accept the proposal of amount not to exceed $140,000 to be charged to capital.
Moved by Withers, seconded by Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. And the next is the general matters. It's the approval of one fire hydrant on West Central Avenue. Moved by Charles, seconded by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously. Our next meeting date will be December 9th. It will also be Jewish Heritage Night. We've had public participation already, and we've closed that. So a motion to...
Oh, no, we need,
have-
6E is a resolution approving a contract for the purchase of streetlights from Orange and Rockland Utilities.
Moved by Councilman Friedman, second by Councilwoman Charles. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, carries unanimously, and that does come out of capital.
And finally, we have one add-on, which is approving the town's participation in municipal consortium with Mr. Duffy as the general counsel for that consortium, and the approval of payments, Mr. Duffy, of 13% of his bill, which is a little over $3,200.
$3,200. Okay, moved by? Moved by Charles, seconded by Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Okay, motion to adjourn? Moved by Councilwoman Charles, seconded by Councilman Friedman. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you all.